Has one of Bruce's beloved sidekicks truly turned against him? And if he can't trust family, who can he trust? Perhaps an old foe, maybe? Well, let's hop into the pages of Batman issue number 160, a continuation of Hush Part 2, The Squeakquel, and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, picking up more or less directly from where the last issue left off, Batman actually does probably the smartest thing he's done in this story so far, and that is actually look back on the Batcave security tapes to see what became of Red Hood after he knocked him out and absconded with the unconscious Joker. First things first, they actually end up completely shooting down my theory that Jason is actually acting as a double agent, trying to take Hush down from the inside, because literally moments after Batman got knocked out, he did try and kill the Joker, only for Hush to stop him himself, saying that the clown must live for their plan to be complete. What is their plan, actually? Honestly, it's still a little vague. 3 issues in, something about revealing the true face of Batman to the world, which, I mean, come on, man. Tommy Elliott, people in glass houses should not throw stones. Didn't you murder your own parents so you could try and get your inheritance early? And now you're out here trying to act as some kind of weirdo moral authority? Now, if you're like me, you're probably thinking, wait, is Jason just completely stupid for following a Hush? Well, he actually does have a reason. You see, Tommy Elliott seeks to imply that maybe the process that brought Jason back from the dead via the Lazarus pit isn't working anymore, and maybe he's sick, and maybe he's dying, and maybe Red Hood should listen to him because he's a doctor. Hush also tries to twist the metaphorical knife into Batman by saying that if he really cared about Jason's well-being, he might have called his best friend, the world-renowned surgeon, to save his life that fateful day when he was beaten about the head with a crowbar, only, despite the fact that Tommy Elliott wasn't invented yet at that point in history, and Batman and Robin were literally in another country when it happened. Bruce just assumes that this is Hush being a dick, though in saying all of that, he may have ended up actually dropping a rather interesting clue. No, not with his words, but with the scalpel that he used to stop Red Hood from firing. You see, apparently it's the very same type of rare Damascus steel scalpel that, get this, Dr. Thomas Wayne actually loved using when he was alive. Bruce remembers it from his dad's medical bag, and the fact that Tommy was kind of obsessed with it even as a boy. In fact, as an adult, Bruce went out of his way to make sure that Wayne Enterprises manufactures those very same scalpels. And now Batman hopes if he can hit up the factory, he'll find his next lead. Now, it's after that we end up checking on in with former police chief Jim Gordon. He returns home only to find a video waiting for him from Hush. This video just so happens to be a recording of Batman saving the Joker's life back at the funhouse again. The story is called Hush 2, yet for some reason we keep invoking the events of Killing Joke. The idea being that Hush assumes that if Gordon knew that Batman let the Joker live, even though he was only moments away from death, it might end up negatively impacting their relationship. Even though Gordon has always been a massive booster of mercy, not just when it comes to Batman, including himself. Hell, Gordon has had the chance to kill the Joker over the years and didn't do it, and even in the last arc, he spared the Riddler's life even though Nigma had brainwashed him into killing the mayor. Again, I get the strong suspicion that Jeff Loeb didn't actually read that last arc. Oh, and then the video message blows up too, which again, what was that supposed to do? Was it supposed to change Gordon's mind or kill him or both? Now, speaking of the Riddler, and I absolutely was, back over at Batgirl's clock tower, Nigma ends up giving his own insight into what Hush's new plan might be. Mainly that this newest caper is much bigger and much more intricate than the last one, and that Hush isn't just gunning for Batman this time, he's gunning for everyone he's ever loved or worked with. Oh, really, Riddler? What truly genius insight. I can see why they brought you in on this one, huh? It's at that point too, Barbara ends up getting word about her father, forcing her to leave. It seems that Hush's plan to divide and conquer amongst the Bat family is already in motion. Now back over with Batman, he finds the sources of the scalpel, only to realize right away that the lady working the front desk is very clearly, obviously a supervillain in disguise. Yep, that's why they call him the world's greatest detective, that's for sure. This lady calls herself Armor, and she seems to be some sort of liquid metal cyborg who can turn her body parts into stabbing weapons. Batman figures that this must also be part of Hush's new plan, instead of weaponizing his old rogues gallery against him like he did the first time. Now, Hush is using his know-how as a surgeon to create brand new supervillains loyal to him. I don't know where they teach you that in med school, but apparently he can do that now. Though I suppose they've always played fast and loose with just how good a surgeon Tommy is, from being, one of the top brain surgeons in the world to being a guy who could do plastic surgery on himself and others. Now, despite Dick knowing full well that Hush's plan is to divide and conquer the Bat family, instead he decides to rush off to have a showdown with Red Hood all on his own. Also, Red Hood Hood has a brand new costume now, which is actually much more reminiscent of the one he actually wore ever so briefly in the original events of Hush. Even though that wasn't meant to be him at first, that was Clayface pretending to be Jason, pretending to be a Hush. Wait, is that why Hush has a brand new costume in this that has way more black in it? And swapped out the coat because that is what Tommy would ultimately end up wearing when he was revealed to be Hush. Jason tries in vain to plead his case, saying that Dick doesn't understand, that Bruce tried to shoot him, and that Tommy is trying to save him. And I mean, in his defense, Bruce totally did shoot him in the last issue. And people did not take it nearly as well as I did. It's during all this brother-on-brother violence too, wouldn't you know it, but the Joker picks this very moment to end up waking up. He arms himself with 2 guns and makes a crack about speeding bullets. Was this part of Hush's plan too, or is the Joker just being his regular chaotic self and throwing a wrench into things? Back over with Batman, he manages to dispatch Armor, oh yeah, that was the liquid metal woman's name in case you were wondering, before eventually coming up against the mountain of a man known as Silence. We had briefly glimpsed him back in issue 1 after he kidnapped the Joker, and he seems to be more than capable of giving Batman a run for his money. Thankfully though, Batman doesn't have to fight this battle alone, as at that very moment, in a scene that damn near gave me whiplash, Damian Wayne Robin ends up crashing through a window, but he's not alone, he's actually aided by Bane. Yes, that's right, the guy who broke Batman's back and who also killed Alfred. And yeah, I know Damian and Bane actually kind of put their animosity aside back during the end of that Joshua Williamson Batman and Robin run, but it is still really jarring to see him here and on Team Batman. And especially that it was Damian's idea to recruit him. It's almost as jarring as Barbara recruiting the Riddler. But then again, I guess Bane was the only classic Batman rogue that Jim Lee didn't get to draw for the original Hush storyline, so sure, why not? He's here now. Now, despite getting such a heroic entrance, Damian ends up getting grabbed by Hush a few moments later, who declares that no matter what Batman does, a Robin will die. Probably at dawn, because so far Hush 2 hasn't met a greater Batman reference that it hasn't loved making just yet. And so that was Hush 2 issue number 3, everybody, and oh man, I am at a real loss for this one. If you followed me in the channel for a long time, you probably know by now I like to give everything a fair shot. I end up liking stuff that a lot of other people hate, and sometimes I even end up not enjoying stuff that other people find is great. But honestly, here, 3 issues into Hush 2, and all I can think is, I think this might be bad, everyone. The characterization is truly disastrous. Like I said, this reads like it was probably either meant to be a standalone Elseworld story, or more than likely, Jeff Loeb just hasn't read a new Batman comic in years, and no one in editorial bothered to correct him because it was probably more important to have him and Jim Lee's name on this one than it was to actually release a book that jived with everything that came before it. The book also includes way more characters than the original Hush story did, and yet somehow it feels much smaller in scale than that story ever did. It's also really disappointing that almost 20-odd years later, with lots of chance to plan and think about what Hush's next great caper will be, and his plan really boils down to the same kind of stock villain plan that's absolutely been run into the ground over the last several years. You know, I'm going to reveal the true face of the hero, I'm going to break them. Yes, I know that hasn't worked the last 100 times different villains have tried it, but I'm going to try again. I've just got a good feeling about it. I mean, at least the book looks nice. It certainly has that going for it, and the idea that the Bat family is now actively recruiting villains to help fight Hush and his new group of baddies. There could actually be something worthwhile in there, though they are going to have to do a lot of work to try and win me over. Overall, I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. I didn't have nearly as much fun with this as I did even the previous issue, and I am hoping that we don't have to wait as long for issue 4 to come out. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.